these groups, even though there was an evolution, autopilot, the way I understand it, was led by the Prime Minister, Simon Ekpa, and then moved to Biafran Republic government in exile, and then the USB. But these groups are still in existence. What are their, why do they differ from the USB? And yeah, why do they differ from the USB? What's their point exactly for not joining the ultimate thing, which is USB, that was planned?
But let me correct you. The groups, they are not in existence. As far as the Biafra freedom movement is concerned, at this stage, there is nothing like autopilot. There is nothing like British, and there is only the United States of Biafra government. What happened is that there is a continuum of the freedom movement. That was there. There was the IPOB, the Indigenous People of Biafra. So what happened was that within this IPOB, there were people planted by the Nigerian state. And again, I want you to follow the line of what is going on and what has happened. There is nothing like this group existed. The only group you see that exists are those planted by the Nigerian state to stop the freedom of Biafra people, and the real genuine group that is Biafra. So when Nnamdi Kanu founded the IPOB, remember, some of these people that surrounded him, everyone seems to be seeking for freedom. But right inside that, you have the agent of the Nigerian government that we have planted inside that. That was why sometimes when you see Nnamdi Kanu said, we're not going to get involved in an election in Nigeria, then these people, paid agents, will go behind, collect money from the Nigerian state and these governors, and then they're going to do, let us call off the election. And then eventually they will have election. Now, that was what our PM inherited. That was why our Prime Minister came in. He differentiated these people who are the agents of the Nigerian government from the real freedom fighters, Biafra freedom fighters. And at the point of this time, remember, these agents that are paid in, that are killed in, that are planted by the Nigerian state, they give them thousands of dollars of resources to disrupt the genuine fulfillment of the freedom of Biafra people. So eventually, you may see them bringing the more money, making the more noise, having Nigerian newspaper publish what they want, like the one that was done in Makawa for China's, I don't want to mention names. So, what I'm trying to say is that at each point, there is only one body. Every other thing outside that are the agents of the Nigerian state. Like I said, from the IPOB, when they took our Oyendu, some of the agents inside this IPOB, they sabotaged Nnamdi Kanu. That was how the ESN that Oyendu started to help to drive away the Fulani terrorists that are coming to our farms to rape our women, destroy our farms and all that. When we founded them, immediately they plotted. So it will always be these same people that plot to sabotage. So when they plotted and Nnamdi Kanu was taken away, what did they do? You see them command all those PSN that Onyendu founded, most of them to fall back to the legitimized Southeast governors. Some of them, they took them and they joined the Southeast governors. And some of them were killed. Some of the real Biafrans that refused to join the Nigerian government, these agents that are Biafrans, they killed some of them. We all have a history. So that was why when the PM came, he had to sort this group. Because Biafrans already knows that those that are sabotaging being paid by the Nigerian state. So That's when he started the autopilot. From the autopilot, you can now see these same other people called the DOS fighting the prime minister. So you will see them, they will be going to Nigeria, coming back, traveling without anybody disturbing them. You will see them, nobody is disturbing them. No government is looking for them. Nnamdi Kanu was in Kenya, Nigeria plotted to take him away. That shows you he's the real genuine person looking for the freedom. Simon Eber was in Finland. Nigerian government plotted with Finland and took away Simon Eber. That shows you the real person fighting for the freedom. And then all these other people now, when you said that is the group existing, they are no group. They are those Nigerian agents. That's why nobody looks for them. Nobody goes for them. That what they are doing is to stop the freedom of Biafra. So even when you come into Britain, the Britain was originally registered by the Prime Minister for us to use it as an agent, as a stepping stone to get our new nation. And then what happened? Some of the people inside that Britain, immediately the Prime Minister was taken away, they started changing the registration documents of the Britain to personalize it to themselves. And why do they do that personalization in Britain? So that they can have the window, the tools they have to stop the real nation. And that is why right now you see those in that Britain, they sued the United States of Biafra cabinet members and people like myself. So it's not about any group anywhere. It is the agents of the Nigerian state pretending to be looking for this freedom, but keep them. Deep inside, their task is to stop the freedom of Biafrans. Unfortunately, they have failed because one, we have declared, they know that they've lost that fight. They cannot go so much far anymore. So again, there is nothing like any group existing anywhere. The only continuum you have right now is the United States of Biafra.
All right. Thank you so much. But in addition to the fact that you consider that these other groups sabotage the Biafran cause, do you also think, because you said earlier that the demand for a referendum for Biafra had gone on for roughly 10 years, and Nigeria has refused to grant that referendum. Do you also think, in addition to the fact that you consider that there are sabotage going on, do you also think that you don't believe that these other groups will achieve the Biafran independence, or that their demands will never be met? Is that was that part of the motivation for the redeclaration of Biafra?
Come again with your question, please.
Yes. The point I'm making is, in addition to the point you've made about these other groups sabotaging the Biafran cause, I am asking, do you also, because you had said that the demand for a Biafran referendum by the IPOB, for instance, has gone on for almost 10 years now, and that Nigeria has refused to grant it. So, are you thinking that the push for the redeclaration of Biafra as USB was also motivated by the realization that these demands made by these other groups will never be granted, and that it is now necessary to take the real action, which is to redeclare? Do you think?
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. You're absolutely correct. Again, if you have followed Nigeria very well, you will understand that the again to keep Nigeria as one surpasses any life, surpasses any human right, surpasses anything. Their quest is not about making their citizens happy or obeying the rules of law, or obeying the laws in their own country, or obeying the laws that guide them in the organizations that they signed up to belong to as a nation, such as United Nations, African Union, Commonwealth. So you can see that the corruption and their quest to continue to retain power surpasses anything any region, anyone, any individual can talk about. So they will never ever even want you to talk about it or talk about regionalization. The only language Nigeria understood is the power of retaliation, the power of the gun. That is why they use gun to suppress. That's why they bring in terrorists. They give them NIN numbers. They give them BVN numbers. They open accounts. They allow terrorists to open bank accounts. And they operate freely. They negotiate with terrorists. So that is, you know why they're doing that? Because the only language Nigerian politicians understand is the gun. That is what they understand. That is why all these terrorists have a safe haven in Nigeria. So now, even some of these terrorists, they've taken occupation of some northwestern part of Nigeria. Some of the terrorists are collecting taxes from the indigenous Nigerians. And this president and the military, the defense, they're not doing anything about it. There's nothing they can do about that. Because they are the one that brings them in. They are the one that support them. They are the one that train them. They are the one that reintegrates them. And what is the reason for reintegrating them? So that they can help them win elections, because they bring them in the numbers from the Sahel, from different parts of Africa. When they come in, they know that the indigenous Nigerians will not vote for them. So they bring all these people to help them win elections. So you can see a reintegrated terrorist that came into Nigeria just within 3 months, they have the right to vote in presidential elections. They give them those NIN numbers, they reintegrate them. So if you are an indigenous citizen, you're talking about the right of a citizen to vote for the presidency. It doesn't apply to them. So now, again, what you said is absolutely correct, because the need for referendum has been on call for a long time. Even regionalization has been on call for a long time. The Nigerian state refuses it. Those that benefit from the system, they don't even want to hear about that, including even the Biafran politicians that are from the Biafra territory, because what they gain from the national retaining their position is more important to them than making the life of their own people better, than following the rules of the United Nations, of the African Union, of the Commonwealth, or than providing basic road, basic water, providing hospitals for their people. They don't care. As long as their own purse is filled up, as long as they have houses, they buy houses, choice areas in VI, in Lekki, abroad, United States of America. That's all they care about. So that is a true question. Yeah, that also has a full.
Okay, thank you so much. The other very sensitive issue here is when people discuss Biafra, especially the one Nigerian people, they say, oh, Biafra is just, including the redeclaration of Biafra and all of the activities by those who identify as Biafrans are just mere performances. They are just, and they use the term performance in a derogatory sense to mean that, it's just a joke. But like I've identified in my listing, I said that I am a student of performance, and I know that performance isn't a joke, actually, because I know also that nearly everything in the world came by means of performance. Because performance means it can also mean to bring into being. You perform something into being. It's a gradual process of bringing to be, or to cause something to be, to cease to exist. So my conception here is that the performance of Biafra can in fact be argued to mean the representation of Biafra as a nation state, the coming to be of Biafra, but even also the ceasing to be of Nigeria. So my question is, what are these performances by which the USB is bringing Biafra to be and causing Nigeria to cease to exist. And I would like you, in addition to other things that you may want to reflect on, to comment on the USB constitution, the USB army, USB currency, USB diplomatic missions, USB ID, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, what we are doing, again, like you said, the performances is to legitimize Nigeria and legitimize Biafra. Legitimizing Nigeria and legitimizing Biafra. That process is seen in different aspects, in different areas, not just what is happening in the Nigerian state, but also what is happening in the Biafran state, in our new nation. The process to delegitimize Nigeria has been ongoing. If you read this article on Nigeria, a failed state in 2030, I think the coming of the United States of Biafra is facilitating that failure of Nigeria. Because what happened is that the level of enlightenment, the level of awareness that people like Nnamdi Kanu, PM Simon Ekpa, myself, has brought to the world on what is going on in Nigeria has sensitive a lot of people, both outside and inside, that are now seeing that, wait a minute, there is a road to this killings going on every day. There is something we can do to stop Nigerian state. And that's exactly what almost every indigenous Nigeria is trying to do right now. So you can also understand the systemic clampdown that the Nigerian state has done to its people since for the past 100 years, from the amalgamation, which expired in 2014, from 1914 to 2014. So that systemic subjugation, that systemic terror, that systemic oppression has been ongoing over the years. So this time around, people are waking up to see that no, we cannot continue in this systemic oppression you're giving us. We have a choice, actually. And that is exactly what is happening. That is why what the United States of Biafra government is doing, it's not just a homeland, because we are both a homeland and a diaspora. We are also taking the battle to the legal organization, to the legal system, whereby Nigeria will be forced to leave Biafra land. They must be forced to recognize that the people have a right to self-determination. People have a right to say who is going to be their leader. Even now, some people, one Nigerians never even believe that a country, a people can come together and decide who is going to be their leader. The ignorance is so much that some of them cannot comprehend. So the ignorance combined with the systemic oppression Nigeria has given them has made some of them, they don't even know how to reason anymore. That is why the Prime Minister has said that the Biafrans in homeland, we Biafrans in diaspora are going to reason for them. Because some of them are also part of this systemic failure by the Nigerian state. So what we are basically doing is we are under our watch seeing the crumbling of the Nigerian state. Recently, you can see almost every representative of every leader in the United States of America has come out to condemn the Nigerian state, to condemn the killings, to bring out the atrocities being committed by the Nigerian state against its indigenes.
Of that flag, I got in the Maduakano, Nahakwanam, Abomokoma, Egineri, Esuraquez, Egaquego Buhari, Egaquego Tunubu, Cholo Meko Namode Wakano, Nobu Heshibego, Nakibol Mabo, Hegibol Moketa, Wego Nigeria, Pokedemu ego Biafra. Anabego, Nogademuma. Ezibwego hu, ego Biafra. Onye chichi wokoma, Nogademuma. Anandaze zazo, Oponye chinyeleze, Nagetu eze, Nike bishinkanu, Dana aya. Nekine kosidima, Imekolitano, Nkumune. Jiribwanina nebenu, Sirapuna mozi wakano, Kwanaba. Nakanyiji jaba fero, Apundi muo, Kahanabazie. Mwanu fero, Apundi muo, Biko, Kahanabazie. Fero Rapundi mu, Fero Biko, Hebiko, Kahanabazie.
This has gone to the level where Nigeria can never recover from this anymore. Because the time in the past, they used to lie, misinform the world, say, oh, it is former herder clash. Don't worry about that. We got that. We are being invaded by the terrorists. We need arms from you to help us fight terrorists. Now, these world leaders have realized that Nigeria is a real terrorist state. They are the ones that have a policy to reintegrate terrorists. So how can you reintegrate terrorists in your country and you're asking for arms from the countries abroad to help you fight terrorists? So you can see the failure of the Nigerian state.
Okay.
Now, the world has known that the Nigerian government is a real terrorist. The Nigerian Shetima, deputy president, is the founder of Boko Haram. How can you have a deputy president that is a leader, the founder of Boko Haram, which is a terrorist organization? The Fulani jihadist terrorists are terrorist organizations. So how can you have leaders? They know these organizations are terrorists, but they don't want it to be mentioned. They suppress that information. They misinform the world. So they will tell you the Fulani terrorists, they are former herder class, but they are quick to call IPOB as a terrorist organization, which has not been declared by any terrorist watch group in the world. So this is exactly what has continued to destroy Nigeria, break Nigeria by the second, of which they will never recover anymore, and now throw more light to new nations springing out from this destruction of Nigeria, like the United States of Biafra. And people are giving this new nation a lot of support from across the globe, both from inside there, Nigeria, inside Biafra land, and outside Nigeria. So this process is going to play itself out. Nothing can stop that. The declaration of the new nation has been done. It's world record. Nobody can stop that. So even the paid agents Nigerian government have that are Biafrans, they know that this game is over. There's no way they can stop it.
Yeah,
So
I really wanted you.
More of them are going down.
Yeah.
More of them are getting more frustrated because this is a battle they can not win.
I really wanted you to comment on some of the things that the USB is doing as a nation. And that's why I mentioned things like the USB Constitution, the USB Army, its currency, its diplomatic missions, and some other things, maybe its passports and other things that.
I hear you. Are you talking?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Now.
Okay, so sorry. Well, I really wanted you to comment on some of the things that the USB is doing as a nation. For instance, to comment on the USB Constitution, its army, its currency, its diplomatic missions, its IDs, and other things that you may want to comment on that the USB is doing as a nation state.
Thank you so much. One of the biggest achievements of the United States of Biafra government is to stabilize the polity in our homeland. The stability we have in our homeland at this time. Since we took over, is something that is very, very highly commendable. And every Biafran that believes in the new nation has had some level of peace of mind which they never had for the past couple of years. They are having it right now. So we've stabilized the United States of Biafra environment. We've stabilized the politics by allowing Biafrans to peacefully express themselves. It's taking them time to do that, but we are seeing more Biafrans now rising up. The people are taking this power into their hand. They've now realized that the freedom of the people, it is not dependent on Nnamdi Kanu. It's not dependent on Simon Ekpa. It's not dependent on the Wazirike. It is dependent on the people. The power of the people is stronger than 1 million gods put together. So they are realizing that and they are embracing that. So that is a very huge aspect of our government, which I'm very, very proud of. Another thing is we have the Constitution of the United States of Biafra. A lot of Biafrans have started reading the Constitution, even some are quoting it, and that's a very good thing. We have our Constitution in places like Amazon. People can go and purchase the United States of Biafra Constitution, and they are studying that. We also have United States of Biafra Declaration document. That one is also, Biafrans are getting hold of that, and they are studying that declaration with all the signatures, people that signed during that declaration in Finland. We have our currency, it's called the DPM. So now we have had we have done excessive work on HMR. The samples have been there. Right now, we are the final process of creating the actual currency HMR for our people to gradually start using it. We are going to be using our HMR concurrently with the Nigerian Naira, believing that eventually the good money will drive out the bad money. So that is what we are doing on that angle. In the area of the diplomatic aspect, we are working heavily on diplomacy to get our allies and recognitions from a couple of countries. We hope very, very soon you'll be hearing more on that. And then we're also presenting a lot of our legal documents at the right table. Those legal documents, we have to do that. That is what we need to ensure that Nigeria and integrated terrorists, they exit our nation. So we are working in creating those allies that support us. Remember the United States of Biafra, the Republic of Biafra was a nation between 1967 and 70. So those countries that supported us at that time, they never withdrew their support. So we have them, and the expectation is that actually some of them have continued to support us, but at the right time, all that will be made public. So we are working on those our allies. Yeah, we're also working on our Biafran international ID card, which many Biafrans are already applying, and many of them have received it. And very soon, those in homeland will start receiving their Biafra ID card. We also worked on our database. This ID card is one of the most trusted ID card with all the security features. And it's really nice to also point out that our ID card and some of our security documents have been accepted by some countries in the world. So we've had some Biafrans that have problems with visa issues at the present United States of Biafra security document, and they accepted that and visa will extend their stay. So that's a very huge progress and plus for what we do. We're also working on our United States of Biafra driver's license and our international passport, which will be ready any moment from now. So those are some of the things that we are working on. We are also working on our election, which is coming up on November the 4th, and we are doing everything possible to delegitimize Nigeria's existence in Biafra land. The 40 states in Biafra land, we are working, they're fully established. We have 40 states in Biafra land. Each of the 40 states have 15 counties, and each of these counties, we have the district and wards. We have 40 governors with the commissioners, which is almost a replica of the state secretaries and their departments, working round the clock with the governors to ensure that their states is moving well. We have our defense department, who is doing exceedingly well. Our defense most of our defense have gone through the international humanitarian law, the IHL trainings. Some of them we are conducted live when they have those trainings. These trainings is very, very important for us, for me as a leader, and also for all my defense team to be able to know the rules, the things they have to do in our new nation to make sure as we are building one of the best military in the world, this IHL training comes in as a priority for all the Biafran soldiers, and most of them have gotten that training. And we will continue to update the training as we go. We also have different other trainings in different areas, key areas, the different projects that our cabinet members, the United States of Biafra cabinet members are working on in different countries. So again, there's just so much that I remember.
A particular one that people are a bit confused, very much confused about is how do the states, the 40 states of Biafra work, and how are they designed to work, different from the way that the Nigerian states operate? Is it going to run as a confederation or as a unitary kind of? What's the design for the?
Yeah. So if you go to the United States of Biafra government, you will see that it's in our constitution. If you go to our constitution, you will see all the structures of the government. So we are running a confederate system of government where each state is independent and also interdependent at certain levels with the federal structure. So that is the system that the 40 states we are running in the United States of Biafra. Yeah, we're running a confederacy.
What challenges can you point to the Biafrans witness in all of this, in identifying as Biafrans where they live? What challenges can you really point to?
Say in identifying what?
In identifying as Biafrans. Are there challenges that you can point to that Biafrans witness? The Biafran diasporas, actually.
Challenges there. Again, from some of the people I talked to, most of them really want to go home and offer their help, offer their services to the Biafran people, because some of them, they're tired of staying abroad. It's like some of them believe that no matter how good, no matter how long, no matter how well you perform in a foreign man's land, home is home. So you cannot have the best outside your indigenous home, because that's where you belong to. That is where you are going to aspire to the highest level without anybody stopping you, without somebody saying, oh, you're black, you can't get this position. Oh, it's not American, you can't reach to this level. Oh, he's not European. So in being in your own zone, there are the 100% expectation that you will rise to your highest potential without being stopped by anyone. Just like you have in Nigeria, if you are a Biafran, there are certain positions you cannot get in just military or air force or police. Those things are there. And then there's a reason why they do that. After the Civil War, they made it a rule among themselves. The Afghans cannot rise to a certain level. They won't allow them. So we are even second-class citizens inside Nigeria, regardless of when you're outside. So that challenge is there. It cuts across. That is why most Biafrans want to go back to their homeland. They want to start building their own home. They want to aspire and build and be the best in Biafran land. And that's exactly what we are doing. So that is one of the challenges. Then the other challenges is that because of the Nigeria terrorist state and bringing in these terrorists to be killing people, most Nigerians and even Biafran, they run away from their families. So there's a separation between families. So people that are abroad wants to go to be to their families. There are sons that have not seen their mothers for years. There are fathers that have not seen their children for years. There are fathers that have not seen their wives for years. There are mothers that have not seen their husbands for years. There are children that have not seen their parents for years. That is traumatic. It's psychologically draining. So no matter how much fun you have, there are Africans that have not even seen their sisters and brothers for years because they are scared of going into Nigeria because Nigeria is a terrorist state. You will be on the road, the police wearing police uniform, we shoot you and destroy you. Nobody will ask. The military, they kill without anybody asking. So there's no security of lives and property. Even when some family members, so some young Biafrans want to come home, their mothers and fathers will tell them, please don't come home, don't come. Just when you come, just stay in Lagos, don't come down here. We will come to Lagos and see you. You can see why even Biafrans, some of them do traditional marriage of their children in places like Lagos, in places like Abuja. Because even their family members, their mothers and fathers will tell them, don't come back home, do it over there. Because the Nigerian terrorist state unleashed mayhem, kills innocent Biafrans for nothing. So those are big challenges that even nothing can stop this except the building of this new nation that
a good number of the some people that I've spoken to are found very difficult because they think that, okay, maybe one might be a spy of the Nigerian government or for several reasons bordering on lack of trust and all of that. But what the question is, do you consider that the Nigerian eyes still follow the Biafran people, even in diaspora?
Of course. This is everywhere. How did when they kidnapping Africa, was in Africa inside Nigeria? Was it not in Kenya that their eye when they are taken away? When they colluded with Finland to take Simon Airport, was Simon in Nigeria? Was Simon in Biafra? Was Simon not in Finland? And they took him. So they know those that are genuine. That's why they take those that are genuine. That's why I told you before that there's no group that is existing that is not in this continent. Any group that is not from Nnamdi Kanu to Simon Ekpa to my leadership, that does not exist. Because those people, they don't matter. Nigerian government, their eye is not on them. They don't matter. They know that they are not the real deal. So that's why they don't look for them. They don't talk about them. Because they know they are the ones that either directly or indirectly facilitating them to spoil Biafra, either to make it seem like there is a parallel government somewhere, just like you said earlier. But there's nothing like that. You can truly understand. Yes, there are eyes everywhere. But right now, those eyes they have everywhere. The people in those countries, the leaders in those countries now know that Nigeria is a criminal state and they can plot and manipulate and collude. That is why they are also the world eye, the international leader, their eye is on those Nigerian leaders too. People like Tinubu, I believe, cannot come to America. So again, a lot of things are unfolding at this time. Yeah, some of them are going to end in jail because of all the human rights abuses and things that they've done without anyone reporting it or without them doing anything about that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We are coming to very close to the end of the section. So, because in the process of your explanation, you've gone through many of the questions that I would have asked, but just a few more remaining. A very critical question also that people then ask. People marvel at how conflicting it might be to be or to identify as Biafran or lay claims to Biafran identity while bearing some identity property of the Nigerian state. Do you consider this as problematic, maybe socially or even psychologically for members? Maybe to identify as a Biafran or to answer a Biafran while still bearing some modes of identification that recognize you as, or rather by which you recognize, identify as Nigerian. Do you find this maybe psychologically troubling?
Not so much, because the identity is what an individual wants to identify as. Your identity is not what I will come and impose on you and tell you to identify as a Biafran or identify as a Yoruba man or identify as an Hausa man. I don't have a hand to do in to play in that. That takes me to the first initial question when you ask who is a Biafran. Whoever believes in Biafran is a Biafran. There are Biafrans that believe that, again, if you have to look at the systemic oppression that have gone in Nigeria for the past 100 years, where some of these individuals, if they say they are Biafran, they kill them. The history is there. Again, I mentioned the Obibo killings, the war killings, the killings at Nnamdi Kanu's house, where they just came in and killed over 30 people when Nnamdi Kanu escaped. The war Junction killing, the Headbridge killing, the Niger Delta killing recently, the Aba killing, the Obibo killing, the Hamufu killing. So all these killings that has happened is enough to instill fear of Biafrans. That is what Nigerian state has done, to instill fear on some Biafrans, not all of them, on some of them. So those of them that are inside that enclave called Nigeria, they could be more scared, more anxious to be identified as Biafran, because they know the consequences that come with that. Not that they don't want it to be Biafrans, but they know that the Nigerian state will come and kill them if they start doing Biafra activity, if they want to be identified as Biafrans. But the change is coming right now, because now the eye of the world, the international world, have seen how Nigeria is killing innocent Biafrans when they just want to say they are Biafrans, how they are killing indigenous Christians and replacing their homes with reintegrated terrorists, how Nigeria is reintegrating, rehabilitating non-terrorists and asking America or Europe to give them arms and ammunition to fight terrorists. But the rise of the Nigerian state have been exposed to the world. And with that, you can see the realization of the of Biafrans now coming out from their shells to boldly stand up and say, yes, we are Biafrans. Biafran has been declared. We are a sovereign nation. You need to leave our land. So that is exactly what is going on. We cannot stop it entirely. It's always going to be a gradual process, knowing where we have been, where we are, and where we are going. Those steps are going to be gradual. I can tell you there are thousands of Biafrans that 2 years ago, they never want to associate that, say they are Biafrans. They don't even want to come out. But 2 years later, you can see them coming out boldly, talking about Biafra, picking up, talking on airspace, making donations to make sure that our land is fully protected. So that is how it's going to be. It's a gradual process. Some intentionally do not want to be associated with Biafra because of their selfish interest. Maybe they have businesses in the north, businesses in the west, businesses in Abuja, and all that. So they'll be thinking, how am I going to boost this my business if Biafra come? And that's ignorance, because they know that they will still maintain their businesses in those places where they are. They don't have to go back to Biafra land. So that's fear sometimes. And then But I know that more importantly is the fear, the suppression, the killing, the terrorism done by the Nigerian state on innocent Biafrans. That is one thing I know that have fueled the bigger picture, the bigger fear of being associated as a Biafran.
Okay. The digital space has become a key arena for diasporic politics. What does that mean to the USB government in terms of the digital space? That's the social, yeah, social media particularly now. What does it mean to the USB government, especially considering that the bulk of its leadership resides in diaspora and it coordinates its members all over the world?
Yeah, it is very, 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 very important. So when you know that we were before Biafra Republic government in exile, and Onyebi Nnamdi Kanu has said that Biafra will come from diaspora. It will not come from inside because um, the suppression, the operation, and the killings going on inside because many, not just Biafrans, a lot of indigenous Nigerians. So the communication between the diasporans and the homeland is very, very important in the full restoration and protection of our land. Knowing fully well that most of the things we do have to be, we have to be cautious in things we do. We have to take the peculiar things that are inherent in our nation. We use that to continue to build our nation. Right now, Nigeria is forcefully occupying a foreign land. So we have to know that we have to tell them to leave, but before they leave, we also have to take cognizance of that they are forcefully occupying our nation, which they will leave. They must leave. They don't have any choice than to leave. But before they do that, we have to put our programs, everything we do, to ensure there is safety and security of our people first. So that is why in some areas where we may ordinarily you will see thousands of Biafrans coming together in one place to do things, some will be afraid to go out from their homes. So instead of going out physically to go and meet, they'll prefer to do the meetings either by Zoom or by the phone, just like you and I are doing right now. So the digital world is very, very critical, very important in the full protection, in the full restoration of the United States of Biafra. We will improve that by once we get full protection of our land. The internet services you're going to have in Biafra land is going to be on your board. I'm telling you. In every open space, in every marketplace, Biafrans will be able to have phones, internet to use anywhere you are in Biafra land. We are going to use those resources in our land to make our country one of the best in the world. So yeah, the social media is there, but also with that comes also the handicap, the other side of the social media. We are those that doesn't truly believe in what we are doing. And those paid agents of the Nigerian state, they can also use that social media to discourage what we do, pass bad information, misinform the world and all that. But Biafrans right now are countering those misinformation and presenting the fact to world leaders. And the world leaders are believing those facts that are being presented by Biafrans. So Nigerian government is gradually every day going down by the misinformation they spread to the world. Just like the other day when you see here this Akpabio, Nigerian Senate president, misinforming the world that there is nothing like religious killings in Nigeria, that the Americans are blowing it out of proportion, that he's going to send people to go to America and talk with the American senators. I laughed at that man because that lie was immediately refuted by not just Biafrans, indigenous Nigerians. They were bringing out pictures of mass murder, mass massacre of Christians in Nigeria. And I believe it's a very big shameful thing for somebody like that to come out. But this is what they've been doing for the past 100 years. So the only thing is that this time around, the world of the digital space, the fact that Biafrans and the world and Nigerians have been exposed to, people can capture events real time, live time, present it to these world leaders, and the Nigerian government has been misinforming before. And that is why Nigeria is failing by the day, yes. So we will continue to use those digital space. It plays a huge role in what we're doing, either by the phone or by Zoom or by different methods that we are using to communicate with their friends.
Thank you. So much. I'm grateful for this opportunity. And we are almost at the end of it. This one now is a bit particular. I would want to know, as a woman leading in a movement that is almost historically dominated by men, how would you negotiate gendered expectations within the struggle? What are your challenges? How do you run it?
Yeah. Again, thank you so much. Again, our constitution says there's equal right, equal pay for every gender, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman. So that which is in our constitution is what I am upholding. And remember, I'm a part of that constitution drafting committee. So I know mostly what is in that constitution, and I know what the type of country that our Prime Minister Simon Eba and our leader Onyeka Nnamdi Kanu is trying to build. Trying to build a nation where people are going to be respected, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman. We are going to respect people regardless of your religion too. Our constitution has things in place for anybody that is practicing something like a different religion to be able to protect respect our constitution and abide by the rules. Once people do that, they are not going to have any problems. In the area of male, in our Biafran, some, very few of our Biafran men have this male chauvinistic attitude, which some of them every now and then exhibit that. But the thing is that I'm not going to let that deter me. And also, if you look at most of the Biafran women that have stepped up to help, they are not even bothered about that. It exists, but again, because of the level of the expertise and the level of experience and education of the people in the United States of Biafra leadership, it becomes apparent that those male that come with those male chauvinistic attitude, eventually they're the ones that start suffering from that, because it does not move me as a woman. I've cut out myself even as a woman, regardless of even before I started the journey in Biafra land. So it is something that some of our men used to. And again, I don't have a problem when some men do that, maybe to respect the other men as a cultural thing, and I do understand that. I'll give an example. There was one time when I got married years back, when I think we were doing something in my house. My father was there. So you know what my father does when maybe for my job, when I send money to my father, something like that. If I go home with my husband, my father will be thanking my husband for sending the money to him. Something like that. And I'm like, in my mind, I'll say, well, Dad, I'm the one that sent this money to you, and you're thanking my husband for sending money to you. And he knows, I believe he knows it's not my husband that sent it, but I think it's that cultural thing, just to respect the head of the house, which is the man. That was how and why he does that. But again, make no mistake about that. My father will not accept any disrespect for any of his daughters or me or anyone by any man, regardless. So again, there are some of the men that 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 move the male thing to the level where it becomes kind of a childish thing. It becomes at a level that we don't know the kind of some of these things maybe from the family background, the setup where they never regarded women in their families and all that, or where they never respected women in their families. So when you see them come out and disparage women, I don't take it personal. I just see that as a problem with their own upbringing, and now eventually I just try as much as possible to make sure it doesn't affect the role and the things I do. I see that every now and then, but what I believe is that I'm not going to change those people's mentality, but I can change how I address or how I confront those individuals as a leader.
Do you think that part of the challenges you are having today in the leadership of, as a leader, every leader has their own challenges. Do you think that, or to what extent would you attribute the challenges you have today as leader of the USB to the fact that you are a woman? And I ask this because I've seen people on Twitter say, oh, they are following a woman. Oh, why in a this a lot of things, yeah, a lot of things. I've actually paid attention. I follow your post each time you do, and I look at the comments there, and a good number of those comments that are negative always try to pin on the fact that you are a woman. So I'm asking, but then you also contrast that with what Onyendu Nnamdi Kanu said, that the moment women pour into this struggle, Biafra will be achieved. And then you also see that it happens like that USB has more women, if I'm not wrong, in its administration than all other groups that have existed. I don't know, but I think so by my own investigation. Yeah. So I really want a deeper insight into this gender dynamic. I mean, a dimension to the Biafran organization.
Yeah. So again, I'm not gonna just refer that as a gender issue. I will still refer that to the problem of the paid agents that are trying to destabilize the nation. So they can use any excuse available to disparage what either I or the cabinet is doing. It's not about, again, it's not about me. But about they know that I'm a force that is in charge of this leadership, this struggle at this time. So even some women too, even talk about me being a woman. So it's not even about a man. You can still see the woman. So you say, oh, she's a woman. They are looking for a man. Even some even say, oh, they don't believe that the Biafra has been declared. They are still looking for this man that will come out from the blues to declare that. So again, this is ignorance, and also added to the problem that these people, probably their family setup, their background, how they grew up, and more importantly, the role they are paid or the role they are playing in the freedom or in the struggle. So if somebody is paid to destroy what I'm doing, they are not going to see me. So whether I'm a man, they will still find a way to disparage what I'm doing. Just like when the Prime Minister was there. Those BOS people, they were paid to stop the restoration of Biafra. They were men, and the PM was a man, but they were still fighting him. So what you have to look at, what is the motive of that person saying something about women or trying to use, because I'm a woman, they won't respect me. Look at the bigger motive of why they are doing that. Most times you discover it's not about me. It is about their intention to stop the restoration of the government, of the freedom of the people, or their intention to, because some of them will tell you that they've been doing this for the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And Dr. Robrese I just came in during Simon Eber's time, therefore I'm not supposed to be a leader. That they view with Wazirike, they view within the canon, that they are the one that is supposed to say it. So you can see some of them that are really cussing and saying all this are the people that have been, maybe they came from the Kano's time and all that. So that is why you see them do what they do. Again, it's lack of understanding and ignorance. That is, and I'm not going to change that mindset like I have. I will change how I approach. And again, remember the United States of Biafra government. We are government. We have over 5,000 military soldiers on ground, and all of them, as long as they're under US, we have absolutely 100% confidence in what I do as the head of the military. So I think when I remember those beautiful things, you compare it with these chaotic individuals that make noise on social media, you discover that they are the least of the problem I have.
Okay, I still say, I don't know if I'm correct, but I think that the more than any other group that I have observed in the Biafran movement, the USB seems to have more women in its, I don't know if I'm wrong, but that's what I observed. And then when you look at what, like I said before, what Onyendu Nnamdi Kanu said, the moment women come into this struggle, that is going to be the point of, and then also I listened to, I joined Twitter spaces of the USB, and then I hear people say, oh, now that women have taken over, it's women o'clock. And now that women have taken over, let us see how the Nigerian state will deal with them. So my question is, does the USB consciously incorporate maybe feminist perspectives in its vision of new Biafra, or is it just a thing of coincidence or competence?
Again, you can see everything, the number of women you have in this leadership, they were there during our Prime Minister Simon Ekpa's time. So if you remember when they were saying that PM surround himself with women, remember when we went to Helsinki during when we went to our convention in Helsinki 2013, when the PM went to 2023. So when the PM was saying that people say he surrounded himself with women, that now people can see the result of women. So it's not just in USB. In Biafra Republic government in exile, these same women most of them were there too. So it's not really unique with the USB. The only thing is that in Brigi, we had many people that time in cabinet. So they were up to 60, 70. But now, in the United States of Biafra, we are not going to have that number. So the number is reduced to a minimum number, and I believe this number will still go down as we progress. And again, probably because I'm the face of the struggle of the freedom at this time, I'm a woman, so people may be tempted to say there are more women, but there are men in the cabinet. There are men doing great things in the cabinet, but again, yeah.
Okay.
Like you rightly said, when Onyendu Nnamdi Kanu say when women has always been there. But I think at this time, with the removal of our prime minister by Finland, which was a very big shock to us, it kind of brought to the floor. It brought to the front those things that, we are doing it, but we are hiding under the men, most of this while. But the success has always been there most times, But again, I think it's now kind of came to the fore because the PM is not there and Onyendu is not there. So.
Okay. I also want to know, because it's a reality, I also lost people during the war, and those that didn't die during the war, including my own father, still has a lot of traumatic stories and all of that. So the memory of the Biafran War remains deeply affective for many. Does the USB engage in any kind of maybe memory work, or does it envision to engage in some kind of you know memory work when Biafra is actualized?
Actually, we already did that. If you watch our May 30th event, I don't know if you watched it. All the we just picked, because it's a new government. We picked a couple of military commands in Biafra land that marched on May 30th this year. So many of them, yes, we do that, and they laid wreaths on the tombs of some fallen soldiers and all that. Yeah, but that's a very huge aspect of Biafran people, to remember our fallen heroes and heroes. And anytime we do any event, we see that national anthem and the heroes and heroes anthem, we always sing it. So that is, we remember them almost every day. So there's no event we are doing that we don't remember them. And we are going to improve and increase on that once we secure our land fully in the area of building like memorabilia and remembrances and play artworks and art areas, buildings where we can immortalize those individuals. Yes, we're going to be doing that.
Looking ahead now, what does freedom or recognition look like to you? That's freedom for the USB.
We already have our freedom. We already declared our independence. The declaration of the independence of the people does not depend on anyone. We have the right to declare our independence. We have the right to self-determination. We have the right to decolonize any country that is colonizing us, or any group of people or individual that is colonizing our people. Those set rules on the Montevideo Convention, on the embodiments of a nation, we already got it. We already got even more. So we are gradually working on it by the day. My biggest happiness is that we were able to declare our new nation, which is the dream of our Onyendu Nnamdi Kanu and the dream of our Prime Minister Simon Ekpa, even though they were taken away and locked up in the dungeons of our enemies just before those declarations. So I'm very, very happy that I was able to carry out this process on behalf of the Prime Minister to declare our independence on 29th of November 2024 and have over 500 Biafrans sign and append to that declaration and support that declaration. So my priority now is building our allies, getting our legal document, legal recognition, building our defense, and ensuring that Biafrans start going home to build our nation as quickly as possible. It's going to take a while, but that is what we are working on.
Okay. What moments of misunderstanding or misrepresentation of the USB would you like to correct through this interview?
The misrepresentation, to correct, I don't really, okay, I think, again, it could be maybe from Biafrans that thinks, maybe because of the way they've been subjugated over the years, that this thing we are doing is really real, that maybe Biafra is not yet here. You know, some people still have that notion that that we don't have our country yet. We don't have our nation. They are looking for, I don't know, some are still thinking that Nigeria will give them their nation or Nigeria will give them their freedom. That's a misrepresentation which must be corrected immediately. They need to know nobody is going to give them their nation. When Brexit happens, they just walked out. When America left Britain to go to settle in America, and when they went to Pennsylvania to declare the independence of America, nobody did that for them. So that notion that somebody or Nigeria has to approve for Biafra to be free is not right. It's not accurate. Biafrans know that their freedom does not depend on anyone. It depends on the people. And the more the people come together to know that our freedom is non-negotiable. This freedom, no one can tamper with that. This freedom, it may take time, but Nigeria already knows that we're a free nation. And as we continue to carry out programs to delegitimize Nigeria, they will have no other choice to walk away than to walk away from Biafra land. So that is one of the notions that I want to let them know. Then the other notion that they think that America is going to give them freedom, or they have to get Russia to come in and give us our freedom and all that. Yeah, I want to correct that too. We are the ones that will give ourselves our freedom. The other notion that we have to be hiding to be doing our freedom, if we don't hide, Nigeria will kill us. No, we must confront our enemies, who is the Nigerian state. We cannot continue to hide forever. That is why the United States of Biafra Defense, they are on the streets of Biafra. Yes, some of them are still in different bushes and all that, but majority, thousands of Biafran defense teams, they are on the streets of Biafra. And that is something we strongly want to encourage, because you cannot be tucked away somewhere in the bush and then allow the Fulani terrorists to take over your land. No, you must be in the community. You must be on the streets for them to move. You must be on the streets to make them go. So that is another notion that we have to be in the bush to be able to do what we're doing.
And that reminds me, I was going to move to the last part of the question, but the comment you just made now, in addition to the decentralized system that the USB is running and looks to running, I also joined a couple of times the Twitter Spaces, and especially after the incident in which 3 or 2 guys were shot and all of that. So I also learned that the USB army have been sort of decentralized or something like that, so that soldiers, policemen serve within their own state, or maybe within their own maybe territory, as it were. Is that to what effect is that, especially in contrast to what Nigeria runs?
Yes, yes, we run a decentralized military because remember we are running a confederacy. So for now, that is what we think is going to help us, because that will help every 40 states to go and take care of their state. In confederate nation, every state is going to be responsible for their nation. So we've seen the danger where Nigerian system, if you everything is controlled from Abuja, from the federal. If somebody commits a crime in Port Harcourt, they have to call the central police in Abuja before they give order to arrest the person. If somebody commits a crime in Onisha, they move the person to Abuja. That is not working. That is not working. So because by the time you move the person to Abuja, and then the crime has. So again, we late, no?
Regional government, but it is too late. I want to ask, are there foreseeable possibilities of a reconciliation with the Nigerian state, and what would it be?
We are the United States of Biafra. So Biafra is gone. There is nothing. It's just that question is like after you're asking a woman that had a baby after labor. Oh, this baby that came out from your womb, how can I put it back inside your womb? That's exactly what this question you asked me like. That would never happen. We're already building our defense to ensure that we remove Nigeria from Biafra land. So, and not just the Biafra people. You can see the crisis erupting in all parts of Nigeria. And you can also see the crisis erupting in different areas of that country. And you can see how the international community now, they are all unveiling all the killings going on in Nigeria. So there's nothing that can stop the destruction of Nigeria. So the United States of Biafra government has been declared that it's nothing that will make us be in Nigeria again. That will never happen. Remember, we're already creating allies. There were some states, indigenous Nigerian states like the Hausa, some of them are already warming up to go through the immigration process to be part of the United States of Biafra government. That's what I learned. So, yeah.
Okay.
That will not happen.
Yeah. When people also discuss those who are scared of Biafra, because that we can't deny also, they say this Biafra will just turn into another Southern Sudan. And the point when they want to give instances, they say, can't you see how the groups, many groups who are fighting amongst themselves, they are doing more to fight against one another than they are doing to fight. You know.
Yeah.
So, okay, let me just, yeah, a bit, let me just finish what it, so, and then they make these references, and the question is, are there efforts really in place to try to reconcile, to seek reconciliation and to bring all the groups together so as to avoid the possibility of another Sudan if Biafra is fully restored?
Again, there is no group that is existing anywhere except the group of the Nigerian state. And some of the reasons why it looks as if there is a group is when they do not get what they want, the plot by the Nigerian state, if it doesn't work, then they make it look as if there is another group anywhere. There's no group anywhere, and I'll keep reiterating this. We are doing everything possible to bring every Biafran on the same table. We are doing everything to work with everyone, but we can only work with those that wanted to be part of the new nation. If there are people that believe they'll be more comfortable with the one Nigeria, remember, just like we see some people now that are going to do a march, like Showore want to organize a march for Namdekan. Then you see there are some Biafran that are planning a counter march for Nigeria not to release it Namdekan. So with this kind of setup, you will understand what is going on and how it will be difficult for you to please everyone. So you just continue to mobilize, just continue to get more Biafrans to believe in what we're doing by the work we do As long as we focus on that, these other ones will fizzle away. There's no way you're not going to have an opposition, even in your place of work, even in your school. There are some people that like you, there are some people that don't like you. So you don't have to say until you become friend with somebody that don't like you, then you cannot move forward or do your exams and study your book and all that. No, you don't do that. You just continue to do that, which you believe in, which you are capable of doing, which your energy and your power allows you to do. And then you leave the people to be the judge. We are moving into democracy, and that democracy is about the people. The people are taking laws into their hands. Therefore, people are the ones that will tell you this is who we want to be our leader. This is somebody that has been somebody's target. They are the ones that will make that statement. And how do they arrive at that? Based on what everyone is doing in every step of this way on this restoration. Nothing more. So again, we will continue to bring those that believe in what we are doing together. We will continue to work with those who want to work with us, who believe in what we are doing. But if there are some people that are agents of the Nigerian state, whom you know that they go behind, they collect money to do specific job. How are you going to bring those people together? How are you going to convince them? Because they like the money they get from the Nigerian state. So you have to also remember this, that the Nigerian state has brought out billions to fight our restoration, and they can't say that. So those billions, where are they going? We don't know. The only way we know is that that's what we do. And then how are you going to bring those people or convince them to do what you're doing? So, yeah.
Okay, this is the last question, and it's no movement in the world is perfect, and they historically have tended to learn as they progress. What regrets do you have so far, and what lessons have you learned in the leadership of this struggle?
You said what regrets?
Yes. What regrets do you have so far, and what lessons have you learned in the leadership of this struggle?
Okay. Regrets. And as far as regrets, as far as regrets, I don't have any regrets in what I'm doing. I don't have any regrets in the fight for the freedom of my people.
Are there things that you may have
Mhm.
done that you think you would have done otherwise in the course of, after it happened, or things like that? And I give an instance. Yeah. Okay. 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 And I give an instance with the USB Army, for instance. I think initially it was men on the ground. So before it was then renamed the USB Army, and also I think they were posted more or less like the way that Nigerian military posted. And then there's a reshuffle now that they have to serve in their different units. And people also say that a good number of those who within the USB Army are in quotes illiterate. That's what people say, and that contributes to how they are perceived by the public, and that it also points to the fact that they won't even be able to understand what it means to be civil or to keep to orders or to maintain discipline. That is the hallmark of a military. Are there some decisions that reactions you can give to this, in terms of maybe could be mistakes, it could be regrets, but there are also lessons in the process of nation building.
Again, I'm not going to call it mistakes. What happened in the aspect of that is it goes twofold. It could be manipulation of the Nigerian state all this while, that was just exposed during the leadership of the United States of Biafra government. That could be one portion of that. Then it could also be the manipulation of some that have been in the leadership. Some claim that they've done it for so many years. Therefore, because they've done it for so many years, that way they've been doing it is the only way. So some of them are not open to change, and there might be a reason why some of them are not open to that change. And that was why when we got into leadership, I gave our men on ground the opportunity for them everyone to figure how they want to go about it, where they feel okay. I gave them that time because I wasn't in that picture, earlier. The leadership of the PM, based on the experience he had with the transition between him and Oyendo, he was the one that was that area is area that he handles, which is great. So in the absence of the Prime Minister, what you will discover is that these individuals that we are plotting and manipulating and try to manipulate some, in bracket, men on ground, we are people that we are planted by the Nigerian state. So they were doing those things long time, believing that it will be, again, their actions and their plots and plans was to displace the Prime Minister. It was not about the USB cabinet. That has been what those actions were. That was why you see some of them that openly said that they are not going to work with the United States of Biafra government. So how are you, if you're building a nation that has a continuum, how are you going to build a military that says they don't want to? Again, we're at the point where some of them started as saying, they want to be regional, whatever. You now look inside why they were doing what they were doing. You now discover that while they were even under Oyendo, even on the PM, they were having their own plan. They were having their own agenda to be the government in charge because they are the one that hold the gun. That mentality has been the part of the problem which they had. So even those that we are manipulating them, we are making them believe that they are the government. They shouldn't worry. After Oyendo now, they carry to be Simon. After Simon, they are the one that will be in charge because they are the one that have the gun. They are the one that will decide everything. So again, the manipulation and then and the lack of understanding and the ignorance has kind of made that situation the way it is. But if you look at what has happened for the past 8-9 months, you will understand that it wasn't mistake or it wasn't an error or a regret or anything. No, it was something that was there that needs to come out for this nation to move forward. And it came out. And as it comes out, I think Biafrans are taking care of the problems because Biafrans cannot continue to contribute money and give to the so-called defense on ground. And that defense is not loyal to Biafrans because even they came out to say it, while they were collecting money from Simon Eba in Diaspora, they also collecting money from people that were sponsoring them. So again, you can now see who are those sponsoring them. They were the politicians paid by the Nigerian state. So eventually it would have been a bigger disaster if what happened didn't happen. Because while the PM was there, and they were pretending to be loyal to it, just like some of them in this diaspora now, making us on social media, we are pretending then to be loyal to Simon Ekpa. Somebody like this Kenneth group that we are pretending to be loyal to Simon Ekpa, and the PM has told them to withdraw the case they filed against USD in DC court, and they're refusing to do that. Then you begin to wonder, what kind of loyalty does this individual have for the Prime Minister? There's no loyalty. That fight has always been against Simon Ekpa. And immediately they took the Prime Minister, they thought they got everything. Bread and butter, they got everything cut out for them. So they thought they had a handle of the men and black. They thought they had everything carved out. They registered, they had a hold of everything. They have to sue us to court so that we can stop, so that they can take over. So you can see there was a calculated plot and plan all this while. People right on the side of never. But the spirit of Biafra is on the throne. That's what I believe in. And that is why, as they were doing all that, Biafrans were able to take the country back into their hands and call it spade a spade. So,
thank you so much.
Those that were even manipulating them, they've discovered now that those people were the wrong people. So some of the people that even died were from their manipulations, from their lies, from their vulnerability. When the PM was there, he told many of them, they were not in contact with any of those men on ground. But immediately PM left, it was a free for all. Everyone wants to be the leader by thinking once they get the men on ground, they can now take over and they will not be Dr. Robertson. They did all that, but at the end of the day, they exposed some of those individuals in very big harm, even to the point where some of them have to lose their lives. That's exactly what they did. And now, some of those men on ground have now realized, many of them have realized that these people, they are evil. They don't mean well for them. And all that thing that they plotted, that planned, wasn't for their own good. Yeah. So again, everything that you see has happened was destined to happen that way, because if it didn't happen or it has been covered up, then it will have been a bigger problem for us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. Maybe just before I close, this last question. How do you manage running a family as a woman and
Can
leading?
hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I was just thanking you for your time and patience in spite of the terrible network and all of that, and even agreeing to do this via WhatsApp. I mean, I am really grateful, but I just have to throw in the last question, which is very sensitive also. As a woman, as a mother running a family, how do you combine it with running the USB?
It's difficult, but I'm doing my best to, yeah, it's difficult, but to live. God has called me for this, and I have no option than to do what I'm doing. I also have the support of the cabinet. Again, the job becomes easier when you have the right people working with you. So the United States of Biafra cabinet might also make it easier for me. And the United States of Biafra, the people who believe in me every day, also make the job easier. So it's very easy when sometimes I tell people I just go home and sleep, and the Biafrans will be fighting my fight and the fight of Biafrans for us, without me even knowing that. So that's all a lot.
Thank you so much. I can't really thank you enough. When I wrote through the Foreign Affairs in office, I sought for two things. One is the recognition of this research, because this research for me isn't just an academic work in that sense. It's also my contribution to the history of my people. The Biafran struggle, the Biafra as an ideology, Biafra in whatever sense one wants to think about it, is a policed memory. And my research into Biafra has actually shown me how difficult it is to even to mention it, much less identify as one. It's really an eye-opening thing for me, and I think I am getting the right support for this research. The climax of it, which is the time that you have put into this, and I must also commend Honorable Okemwa for all he's been doing and for making this day possible also. I am really, really, really grateful. As a person, I want to author one of the first profound books on Biafran diaspora. That's what I want my research to turn into. And that's why I'm taking the pain of not just doing the textual readings and reading, analyzing novels and films and all of that. I want to speak to the people. I want to hear from the people. And that brings me to a request, sort of, because I am also looking at something that will turn into a profound book at the end of this research. I have mapped out those spaces that I want to study, but I must also acknowledge that I'm having issues getting people to talk to in those spaces. And the attention that you've paid today also shows that you and the USB, you are committed to research. You are committed to, you are open to having people come into, and for me also, I'm also doing this because at the University of Ibadan, people complain that they are unable to, especially the Department of Peace and Conflict. People who take up projects or thesis research on Biafra spend longer time doing their research. Not because they are held by the faculty, but because of course, in addition to the sort of persecution in quote by the authorities, not school authorities now, but the Nigerian authorities, they also find it very difficult to find people to talk to. Everybody is scared and all of that. So I'm requesting now to see how on behalf of the USB, you can also either recommend people that I can talk to in some of these spaces that I am working on. I've tried many times to in fact, I know how difficult it was for me to get into the USB Twitter space and talk and all of that. It costs a lot of trouble. I've managed to, and all of that. But thank God for Honorable Okenwa, who on a very faithful day, intervened. And because I think he understands the place of research in struggles like this. There are those who will be on the field materially. There are those who will be there with their pain. There are people doing their different stuff, which will ultimately culminate into on this thing. So I don't know what you think, how you can come into helping me get people to recommending, because I know that you have people all over, members all over these places that I'm working on. And the conversation that I've had with you this evening, of course, is different from the conversation that I would have with members, as it were. You know, why I would be looking at purely lived experiences with members have discussed with you as the leader, you know, just to harmonize the distance. So I don't know what and how you can come in this particular challenge I have of getting people feel free enough to talk to me about these issues, about their lived experiences in these spaces. I spoke to Mrs. Ngozi. She just made a contribution on Twitter space, but that was so rich because she discussed how she left Nigeria, how she was maltreated, what she encountered, that then took her outside. And those are the instances, personal instances that one can hold on to make concrete analysis that can back up or provide justifications for the struggle. But when I chatted her up to be able to hold an in-depth interview, she avoided it because I don't know, maybe I don't know. But I know that if the USB comes in as an authority or a government here, I think that will go a long way. The main thing is to be able to have people define themselves and provide experiences that we can then use to make concrete analysis of the situation and not allow others to take over the narrative and provide whatever and define the movement. You know, so I don't know how you can come into this one.
Yeah, I don't know. You have to talk to people individually and see their willingness to talk on their time. And again, some people, maybe because of time conflict and all that, they may not have the opportunity to wait. But I do things that I did. So it all comes with doing study projects and all that. So it's not clear with anyone. That has always been the difficulty in doing things like this. So you have to continue searching until you see those that will be able to willing to help. So there's no cutting edge on getting people to help in research studies or getting for. All right. Thank you so much, because I got to run.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. I am grateful for this opportunity. I'm really, 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 really grateful. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's almost 2 hours plus. You know,
Yeah.
I'm really, really grateful. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so
All
much.
right. I wish you well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
You can also follow up with Christopher and Richard. Maybe they will help you with Miranda. All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much. All right,
Okay.
Christopher, I gotta go.